I remember as a child you're born and raised into havoc. There's war all the time. There's uncertainty within the country. And I remember as a child going through places with my parents, and you always heard it in the backgrounds, hearing the war sirens, and just, we'd go to parks, we'd go to picnics, we'd have family functions and weddings and the fun stuff. But the trauma of being terrified, or like sitting in my grandmother's house watching TV, and all of a sudden the house starts to shake and all the cousins and the kids are running into the doorways or under the stairs to hide, that overshadowed the joy. You know, it overshadowed life in itself. And it's what you became accustomed to know, that is what life was. So you just accepted it because that's all we knew. There wasn't anything different.
And so your family flees. At one point you're in Torino, and this amazing story of how God kind of answered your father's prayer.
Absolutely, yeah.
Tell me about this.
Well, it was Christmas Eve, and I love how God just works, and he's like, I know how this is going to end out, even though you don't know. And my dad found himself in the streets winter, Christmas Eve, wandering, crying, knew that our money was, low and we didn't have much left to, go to the next country or however long it took to come to Canada. But we needed a visa and we didn't have the visa. And every day he would go to the embassy to get the visa, and every day he was denied. So he walked in the streets, found this huge church, sees this huge statue of Jesus, and he walked up to it and he just said, I know you're not my God. I know that we don't do anything to worship you, but you're a God of these people and you're a God of this land. And I'm asking you to help me and my family out. And because I know you will, to honor you, I'm gonna light a candle each year on the eve of your birth. Wow. He lit the candles, completely overwhelmed with emotions, left, and the very next day he went back to the embassy, and without even a blink of an eye, we had our visa.
So you enter into Canada, this brand new country, but start struggling with identity issues to the point where you want to take your life.
I did. It was hard. I felt like a black sheep growing up. I felt like I didn't belong within my own family. And it wasn't because I didn't feel loved or I wasn't loved, but I was different. I always tell people I was more Canadianized. My sister and my brother wanted to hold on to our traditional roots, to be Persian, to practice our faith, which was fine. But for me, all my friends, like they went to Persian school. I never did. I wanted to stay in, the playground or go out with my friends and have fun. I liked my new life. The old was gone. I didn't have to worry about the war and being afraid to play in a park. And so I struggled with, how come everybody wants me to be this way, but I don't feel like I belong. I feel like I don't even belong in my family. I feel like I was meant to be somewhere different or live a different life. And none of it was bringing me any type of satisfaction. None of it was bringing me any type of wholeness, because I was completely empty inside. I didn't have that life that the Holy Spirit gives us. And I just set out for a quest to learn, and through wrongful teachings and wrong friends coming into my life, I contemplated committing suicide numerous times. And every time I came so close to it, I couldn't. There was this deep heartache within me that was like, no, you can't, you can't. You just need to wait for me, you can't. And I'm so thankful that I never did. I'm so thankful I never went as far as I did, and I just stayed true to waiting for the Lord until he showed himself to me.
One day you meet a young man by the name of Scott, and he starts to talk to you about Jesus.
He did, yeah. We were 15 in high school. And I remember the first time I saw him, there was so much light exuding from him. And I just thought, who is this kid? Like, I gotta get to know him. And it wasn't anything like having a crush, but there was this, I was drawn to this light that I'd never seen on anyone before. And so, lucky enough for us, every class that we had that first year, we were in the exact same class together, except our homeroom. And we had a friendship. We based it on a really good, solid friendship, getting to know each other, talking. And he started telling me about Jesus. And I got really excited until my Muslim friends found out. And they just put the lid on it. They shut it down. And they reassured me how awful it was for any Muslim to convert, that there's no hope for you, that you're not allowed. It's a huge sin against God. And so I talked to Scott. I said, listen, I love our friendship, but you need to respect me. I'm a Muslim, you're a Christian, and we just need to keep it at that. And so he stopped. And it wasn't until a year and a half after that I finally realized, hey, I'm missing something. Scott hasn't talked to me about his Jesus for a long time, and it scared me. And
what scared you about it?
it scared me because I knew he was full of so much life, and all of a sudden, that life kind of stopped. That I was receiving. Every time he spoke about Jesus to me, it kept me going. There was this excitement inside until I noticed, hey, it's gone. And so I started talking to him more about it. I started talking to my Muslim friends about our faith. And literally, eventually, one day, my Muslim friend said, if you convert, you're going to burn in hell. And I had a really honest, heartbreaking conversation with God as I walked home from high school, weeping, and he revealed himself to me. And I went home and I wept and I cried and I woke up. And before I slept, I took a nap. I cried out to the one true God. I said, I just want to know the one true God, whoever you are, I just want to know you. I'm tired of feeling dead inside, like my prayers aren't being heard, that I'm just praying to the wall. And I fell asleep and I woke up, and it was like this jolt of electricity that went through my body. And I heard his voice and he said, it's now or never. You need to make the decision, it's now or never. And I called Scott and we had a quick conversation. He thought I was pranking him because we love playing practical jokes on each other. But I convinced him, like, no, this is serious. I really want to do this. I've made up my mind. And the very next day at school, we walked into a forested area and I gave my life to Christ then. And it was the most incredible day of my life. It really was.
And you knew that this would be at a huge cost, that your family would not be happy. Tell us about dinner time and what would happen once your family knew that you were a Christian.
Yeah, well, it became really difficult. And back then, I didn't realize how much it would hurt my parents. Being a parent now, I can understand as I'm in their shoes. But they would have dinner together, my parents with my siblings, and I wasn't allowed to sit with them. So I would wait till they were finished having dinner. And when they were done eating dinner and the table was cleared, I'd go in the kitchen and whatever leftovers there were, I'd
The
sit
leftovers.
there. The leftovers, yeah. I'd sit there and I'd eat it. And it wasn't because they were mean. I understand that part. They were just so broken. They were so hurt. They thought I had completely gone behind their back, which I had. My dad had said, I wish you would talk to me about this. I would have helped you. I would have taken you to classes and taught you about the Courtin and what Islam really is about. But my mind was already made up and I'd fallen in love with this new Jesus and I couldn't turn my back on him anymore. But it was really difficult. But at the same time, now being a parent, I could see their pain and I could see it wasn't intentional. They just didn't know how to deal now with a child who's completely turned their back on a faith that they followed for hundreds of years through past generations.
You're now married to said Scott.
Yes, that's yeah, we are. We've been married for almost 14 years now. Yeah.
And what was it about that Jesus? What is it about that Jesus that you decided that, yeah, I'd have to give up a family, I'd have to give up all of those things in order to follow him?
You know, he made me feel whole. He made me feel like I finally belonged. I belong to this family now. My whole life I was the black sheep trying to find my place, and he showed me my place. He showed me that I have a place with him, right in his heart, right on his lap, to sit with him, to laugh with him, to cry with him, that he really is my best friend. You know, even in my darkest moments, I could sit and cry, and it's as if you and I are sitting here talking to each other. He's that tangible to me. And I can't turn that back for anything. I can't give it up.